and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioners Marchand,
Here.
Salwan,
Present.
Ariola,
Present.
Ding, Fugazi,
Present.
Morowitz, Vice Chair Zuber,
Present. Chair
Craig Hensley. Ex officio members, do we have anyone on from StanCog? SJCog?
Diane Nguyen with SJCOG present.
Thank you. SJRTD?
Good morning, Ken Baxter, RTD.
Caltrans?
Good morning, it's Tom Dumas with Caltrans.
Thank you. We have a forum.
All right, thank you. The safety briefing.
Perfect. Can you go to the next slide, please? All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Cam Polaris, Safety and Security Specialist, here to give you guys your quarterly safety brief. So designated person to call 911 will be Jackie. AED first aid kit's located in the customer service hall right before you enter into the boardroom. If you are a DNR, put a note in your right pocket or right shoe. Rest locations right here. So restroom locations right down the door. It's missing the word there. So restrooms right outside the door here. Emergency routes for those in the back right here along the tables. You're going to exit through the double doors, meeting by the platform. That's the designated assembly area. The rest of the group this way is going to go to the left here, out to the door, platform door, push doors right here, meeting by the designated assembly area. The rest of us will follow suit to the double door. Let's see here. Other than that, that is your quarterly safety brief. Do you have any other questions or any questions on it? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item, public comment. Do we have anyone in the room that has any comments they would like to make? Do you have anybody online?
Seeing none online.
All right, then we'll move on to item 5, which is the consent calendar. Are there any items that anyone wants to pull for further discussion?
Just a couple of comments, if I may.
All right.
With regards to ridership, so it was up 30% over last year. That's remarkable. Doing great. And regarding to the Washington report, I was in Washington D.C. last month, met with DOT, and one of the things that concerned me was we were talking about rail transit and the like, and the staff members that we were talking to were talking about they love the big, beautiful roads and bridges projects. They were not so keen on rail, but they were big, beautiful roads and bridges. That was a direct quote from the staff members. So put me in for bumpy ride, but so we're talking about the importance of getting people and connecting the mega region, getting people over the Altamont from the housing centers, the job centers, and so that's that. And with that, there's no further comments. I'll move forward.
Second.
Hold on. Do we have any other comments? Do we have any public comment on this item?
Seeing none online.
All right, then we have a motion and a second for approval. Although, we have to roll call?
We have one on the
All right, roll call.
Thank you. Commissioners Marchand,
Yes.
Salwan,
Aye.
Ariola,
Yes.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on, item 6. To adopt a resolution ratifying the execution of Amendment 3 to the agreement with Dent Consult for Wi-Fi system support and oversight service. Mr. Lopari.
Thank you so much. So one of the features of the passenger amenities on board the train is onboard Wi-Fi. And really Wi-Fi has become really a staple of an amenity for train travel as well as other travel modes. And, for our passengers in particular, they're looking to work like on the way into the office, and many of them get credit for the time that they're on the train as a part of their work day, because they're meant to be doing things, that are productive. And then, also for entertainment purposes, whether that's on the way to work, whether that's on the way back, or, certainly like our 49er passengers, sort of connecting in that way. The current Wi-Fi system that is on the ACE trains was procured back in 2020. And it really included like a two-part structure. First was a technical oversight consultant, and then the second was the actual solutions provider. These are two different companies. The technical oversight has been provided by Zen Consult or Zen Trans. I'm not sure why they have two different names that are equally as sort of confusing to say. But then the solution provider has been provided by Nomad Digital. And this two-part structure was really to put in place technical oversight to assist staff in ensuring that the solution provider Nomad delivered what we paid for, essentially. So the technical oversight consultant Zentrans provides system data tracking. These are a couple of images of what those look like. We're looking at these on a biweekly basis, on a monthly basis, to ensure that, you know, the coverage on board the train as well as throughout the corridor is at the levels that are prescribed, that the passengers are able to connect. They also provide first line support. So issues that happen, you have passenger emails into the agency, or they detect a problem with the service themselves, they handle that first line support. And then they also are a part of tracking all of the KPIs that are within the contract for the solution provider to ensure that any penalties that are assessed are tracked, documented, and then delivered to Nomad as a part of in advance of their billing package. In April 2020, you approved a 5-year agreement with Zentrans for that scope of work to oversee the Wi-Fi service, and we were come to the end of that initial agreement. Within that agreement, it was an option for 5 years. I'm going to hand it over to Autumn to talk about the procurement portion.
Thank you, David. So the contract did expire on April 30th of 2025, but due to unforeseen delays and scheduling conflicts, we were unable to bring it to the board prior to the expiration for approval. So therefore, part of this is ratification to approve the amendment and exercising the second 5-year option to continue services. So the breakdown is on this slide as well. It's for 5 years, it's about a little over $986,000 with an annual cost of $198,000, and that covers what David shared earlier. So the the amendment was handled in accordance with the Railroad Commission's procurement manual, and was effective May 1st and will continue through April 30th of 2030. And then we have confirmed that the price is fair and reasonable and the services are necessary and reasonable. So the expenses and revenues for the first year of the amendment are identified in the current budget, and then future years will be brought to the board for approval as part of the annual budget approval process. And staff recommends approval of this amendment, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Any public comment on this item? Any public comment online?
Seeing none online.
I just have one question. What about the system? Do we have a renewal coming for that?
We do have a renewal coming for the Nomad contract. We're still in negotiations with Nomad on exactly the scope of work for the next 5 years. With the technology products, we're like analyzing over the life of that contract. Are there going to be any needed upgrades to various components? And we'll be bringing that as a separate item at one of your future meetings in the next few months.
All right, thank you. All right, you have a roll call, please.
Motion.
Second. Motion and second.
Thank you.
All right, now we can have a roll.
Thank you. Commissioners Marchand,
Aye.
Falwan,
Aye.
Ariola,
Yes.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right. Item 7 is to adopt a resolution approving an agreement with KP Public Affairs LLC for advancement and outreach services for an amount not to exceed $2,091,050.
Yep. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Delmed. I'm the public relations manager for the San Joaquin Region Rail Commission. It's my pleasure to present the Valley Rail Advancement and Outreach Services contract. Just a heads up, I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. My son couldn't help himself bringing home germs one last time before the summer break. And I might have to pause for a cough or two, but I want to reassure my coworkers who have been giving me weird looks over Zoom, I can't get you sick via Zoom. So next slide, please. So, as you know, the Valley Rail is a multi-billion-dollar project aimed at improving rail access through the San Joaquin Valley and the Bay Area. And as we finalize planning and begin construction on key segments of the project, it's vital that we continue to effectively communicate with elected officials, passengers, and a wide range of public and private stakeholders. We operate in a very unique and complex environment, one that spans hundreds of miles across and crosses multiple jurisdictions. To give you some perspective, I've highlighted some raw data about what I like to call a coverage area. Our service directly connects to 15 federal elected officials, 24 state elected officials, 250 county and local elected officials. On the media side, we have 17 major broadcast media organizations along our corridors and 43 major print media organizations. Furthermore, we have close to 130 chambers and business focus organizations, close to 50 transportation focus groups, and countless hundreds of community-based organizations. As you can see, we're working with a very large and diverse region with an extensive network of stakeholders. But with the right outreach strategy and clear set of priorities, we'll be able to get the word out effectively and build the broad support we need to advance both the Rail Commission's work and the Valley Rails program as a whole. Next slide, please. The contract itself will have a wide range of deliverables, but I want to highlight some of the key points. This contract will help strengthen our legislative advocacy efforts. We'll use it to build and maintain support for both our current ACE and Amtrak Simulcane services, as well as future expansions. Through this contract, we'll be able to work closely with elected leaders, partner agencies, and advance legislation that supports our operational infrastructure and long-term growth. We'll also monitor key policy developments in Sacramento and ensure that Valley Rail and the Rail Commission's priorities are front and center in important discussions. This proactive engagement will allow us to respond quickly to legislative or regulatory changes that could impact our work. This contract will also help us strengthen how we identify and pursue funding opportunities. We'll use it proactively to spot new funding sources, especially those coming out of Sacramento, and position ourselves early for competitive advantage. With this added capacity, we'll be able to craft strong, compelling funding proposals that align with agency priorities and make our case more effectively to funding agencies. We'll also use this contract to explore creative ways to bring additional dollars. And we'll be able to stay on top of what's happening in the state budget. There'll be timely analysis and insight to help us guide our decision making and keep our projects on track. Next slide, please. This contract will help us strengthen our stakeholder engagement efforts across the region. We'll connect with city and county officials, transit advocates, and community groups to ensure that informed, engage, and support, to make sure they're informed, engaged, and supportive of the Valley Rail program. With this support, we'll make sure that Valley Rail is integrated in a broader transportation and mobility conversations, not just as a project, but as a key part of the regional's long-term vision. The team will also provide guidance to the Rail Commission on how to best approach stakeholder outreach, ensuring we're aligned, consistent, and effective in our engagement. This contract will also help us sharpen our public messaging and communications. We'll use it to develop clear, consistent messaging and highlight how the Valley Rail is improving connections, access, and quality of life for communities throughout the corridor. The team will help us pitch stories, build media relationships, so we can tell our story more effectively, especially in key markets. This contract will help us continue to build strong partnerships with business groups, nonprofits, other local organizations that could amplify our message and support the efforts at a community level. Next slide, please. And finally, this contract will help us lead more meaningful, inclusive, and community engagement across our service areas, both current and future. We'll prioritize outreach that reaches a wide range of communities, making sure our efforts are not only broad, but also equitable, especially when it comes to including underserved or historically underrepresented groups. As a part of this work, we'll develop an annual outreach plan that provides structure, goals, and timelines for our engagement activities. We will also have the ability to host community workshops, conduct surveys when needed. This will help us gather authentic, actionable feedback from the people we serve. And this contract will also help us plan and execute high-impact community events and outreach opportunities. Whether it's going to be a groundbreaking, a public meeting, a community celebration, we'll have the support we need to coordinate and staff those events effectively. We'll also ensure that the Rail Commission and Authority are represented at conferences, stakeholder forums, and other public-facing events to build relationships. From a logistics and material to messaging to follow-up, that this contract will ensure that we'll make the most of every engagement opportunity. So as you can see, the contract is really more about helping us do more outreach and more impact and more progress with the Valley Rail program. It gives us the extra support we need to keep moving forward and share the great work that's happening. I do want to thank you for your time. Happy to answer any questions at the conclusion of this presentation.
Thank you, Adele.
Yeah.
I'll take the procurement approach. So the staff report's pretty detailed, so I'll just cover the highlights. In January 25, an RFP was released for these services. On the due date, we received 4 proposals: Brownstein, Hyatt, Farber, Shrek, and then Busy Seed out of New York, KP Public Affairs in Sacramento, and then the RPA in Fresno. and the procurement and contracts department deemed 3 of them responsive. All 3 responsive firms were invited for interviews and were evaluated by the panel consisting of the Rail Commission staff. And after the interviews, we combined the scores and KP was the most responsive and responsible proposer. So the Rail Commission and KP negotiated and agreed to a final scope of work, and the agreement will be effective upon signature by both parties. The original not to exceed amount is a little bit over $2 million for 5 years, and there are 2 option years which would be utilized at the sole discretion of the Rail Commission and negotiated in advance. Revenue and expenses for this contract are identified in the operating budget, and future years will be brought to the board as part of the annual budget approval process. Staff recommends approval of this agreement, and we would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Public comment? Anything online?
Seeing that online.
We would entertain a motion on the item.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioners Marchand.
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Mariola,
Yes.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
8 is to adopt a resolution approving amendment 4 to the agreement with American Guard Services Incorporated for security services.
All right. Good morning, members of the board, commissioners. How you guys doing today? So in July 2022, the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission entered into contract with American Guard Services to provide comprehensive security for our passenger vehicles, passengers, staff, and onboard crews. And since that agreement, we've implemented 24-hour security services at Cabral Station, 8-hour patrol at the RMF station or at the RMF facility, excuse me, and another 8-hour patrol here to oversee all the other facilities. All right, so since introducing this, the security services at the stations, we've seen a significant decrease in crime, issues going on with the stations, homelessness, and vehicle issues that we've been dealing with at the stations. So given our success for the current contract, the Rail Commission strongly advocates initiating the first option year with the Amendment 4, which highlights the substantial improvements we've accomplished in the last 3 years. And I am happy to have Autumn present the next motion.
Okay. Me again. So the amendment was handled in accordance with the procurement manual, and the procurement contract staff have deemed the price to be fair and reasonable. The amendment will increase the current contract amount a little over $837,000 and resulting in a new contract amount of about $3.2 million. The effective date will be July 1st and then expire next June. The expenses and revenues are also in the budget, and they will be brought, future years will be brought before the board for approval as part of the annual process. And then staff recommends approval of this amendment, and we would be happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Do we have any public comment on this item?
Seeing that online.
All right, then I would entertain.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Commissioners Marchand.
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Mariola,
Yes.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes.
All right. Moving along, item 9, to adopt a resolution approving an agreement with WSB USA Incorporated for construction management services for the Stockton Diamond Grade Separation Project. Freeman.
Good morning, I'm Matt Freeman, the project manager for the Stockton Diamond Grade Separation Project. The Stockton Diamond Grade Separation Project at its core is a congestion relief project. The existing Stockton Diamond has over between 50 to 70 trains a day that pass through the crossing on a daily basis. And this project will relocate the Union Pacific tracks to the east, allowing us to maintain continuous rail operation through a series of 14 construction stages. And we will build a flyover structure over the BNSF for Union Pacific through a series of retaining walls and what some may call big, beautiful bridges that will allow us to relieve the congestion, not only for the rail traffic for the greater region, but also here in the city of Stockton and the 14 grade crossings that surround this crossing. Allowing vehicles to not idle at the crossings and also to assist with emergency responders in the Stockton area with being able to traverse these crossings at a more frequent basis and without having to be delayed. So last year, we had brought the selection of our construction manager, WSP, to the stations committee, which was approved for the selection. And right now we are in the stage of the project where, if you look at the diagram on the left, we have completed all of our environmental documents. We have substantially completed the PSNE phase of the project. We are in the final stages of getting the remaining approvals with our stakeholders. And we are deep in pre-construction, where we are developing the bid documents and doing all the necessary steps that will lead us into construction. WSP will be assisting with these pre-construction activities. We are not mobilizing the entire army that we're going to need to basically manage the construction, but basically we have identified select individuals that are needed to help us develop our bid documents, but also to assist with overseeing some of the utility relocations that are going to be happening by the third parties associated with the project. And we've listed a few of those individuals, the resident engineer, safety manager, quality manager, scheduler, utility inspectors. And then we have some assistant resident engineer, office engineers who are serving as subject matter experts for specific aspects as it relates to the bid documents and some of the utility relocations. Oh, and this work is really anticipated to take place through June of next year. And as I mentioned, they're going to be supporting the completion of the documents and what we call right-of-way certification. And if you aren't familiar, this is really at Caltrans and also closely related to our funding partners. And so basically what right-of-way certification represents is that we're demonstrating to all of our stakeholders, including our funding partners, that we are ready to move into construction. So it means we have our agreements in place, we have our design documents approved, we have our construction and maintenance agreements approved and completed with the host railroads and Caltrans. And so they're going to be helping us with these activities. And as I mentioned, so it's going to be the construction bid document development. They're going to be performing a constructability review, kind of giving an independent assessment of our construction documents before they go out for bid to ensure that they're aligned with kind of the expectations. And it is very helpful for us to get that independent assessment. And through that, they're going to be doing a cost and schedule validation. And as I mentioned already, they are going to be, we're going to be transitioning the third-party coordination activities, which have been part of the design team, over to the construction. So this is a good transition period to have that in this pre-construction phase. Since many of these relocations, we are trying to get out of the way of the major construction before we start construction. And so we've listed some of those utility companies that we were going to be coordinating with here on the screen: AT&T, Cal Water, Comcast, Lumen, PG&E, Verizon, Zayo. All are in conflict with the project, and we're actively working with them to get them relocated. And then other tasks that may be required in order to support the construction building. And then I'll pass it up to Autumn.
Matthew. Last one for me. So as Matthew mentioned, the Stations and Facilities Committee meeting did approve the qualifications of WSP in December of 24. In March of 25, the Rail Commission staff did request a cost proposal for the pre-construction work, and we negotiated that phase. There was an immediate need right away for services, and so we did enter into a small early pre-construction work. It still covered the same scope, but it was a little bit more dialed in to get us going. And that was effective April 2nd, 2025 for a little over 220,000. It was for an initial 3-month duration. The agreement for this pre-construction support services has been negotiated and has been handled in accordance with the Rail Commission's procurement manual. The procurement contract staff has reviewed and confirmed that the price is fair and reasonable. And then a third and final agreement for the construction management phase, like the full scope, will be brought before the board in the future when we are ready to enter into the construction phase. And the expenses for this agreement are in the capital budget under the Stockton Diamond. It's in the right-of-way phase because it has to help us with the right-of-way certification, as Matthew shared. It's using STIP and SB 132 funds. We have about 4.7 million in the budget. If approved today, we'd have a little over 260,000 remaining in the right-of-way phase, which, since we're transitioning phase, that should be accurate. So staff is asking for approval on this agreement, and we would be happy to answer any question.
Do you have any questions? Any public comment? Any online?
Seeing none online.
And I would entertain a motion on the item.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, roll call please.
Thank you. This is for regular voting members only. Commissioners Ariola,
Yes.
Fugazi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Item 10 is a presentation on the draft fiscal year 2025-2026 work program and operating budgets for the Rail Commission and California Joint Powers Authority, and also a capital budget. David.
The process of creating the annual work program budget is a team effort, and last month you heard from a lot of the team members about the different disciplines of work areas within the agency. You're going to hear again from a few of us about the work that is contained in the document. The draft document was included in the packet for this meeting, and it is, as you sort of look through the document, you'll see that there are several different budgets and work areas included, including the Rail Commission's operating and capital budget, ACE's distinct operating and capital budget, and the San Joaquin's distinct operating and capital budget, and then some other contracted services that are included. And annually, the Rail Commission adopts the work program and budget for all of these enterprises, as you are the setter of the budget, right, for these individual enterprises that you oversee and delegate to staff. This provides the full budget authority for all the expenses and revenues related to the services, to the enterprises that we lead. As I mentioned last month, we provided an overview really of the narrative chapters. What's contained within the work for this upcoming fiscal year, and then what was going to be included in the budget tables that we were going to deliver to you this month. The full draft program, including the narratives as well as the budget tables, were included in your packet. And we're going to focus today primarily on the budget tables themselves, both from a capital and an operating perspective. And then at your next meeting, July 17th, staff will bring the final work program budget to you for approval. Before I hand it off to the capital and the operating fiscal teams, we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the overview and the highlights that we mentioned last time, but a few of the things that are included in the executive summary of the document. Next year, ACE is planned to operate 4 round trips plus a special training service. We're forecasting that the service will carry over 920,000 passengers, which will be a 13% increase over this fiscal year. On the San Joaquin side, it'll be operating a mix of 6 round trips initially and then 7 round trips eventually in next fiscal year, forecasted to carry just under 950,000 passengers. When you add these numbers together, which is not something that we do often with you, but I think it is important to see the scale that it's 1.8 million passengers that we are carrying throughout California and throughout our region. These are representatives of commuters, of families, of students, all needing to get to where they're going, and we play such a key and vital role in that story. On the ACE side, we are highlighting in the work program, as well as we'll be highlighting throughout next fiscal year, the switch that we made from ACE 10 to ACE 2, which is already operating at 130% of its predecessor. So really a success story there. And the special training service, which was 93% on a per train basis over in ridership, we're looking to really make even further strides this fiscal year. On the San Joaquin side, as I mentioned, we're looking to launch the 7th round trip, which would bring the service back to the full pre-pandemic service level. And we're about to begin a business class study on the San Joaquins, which is really meant to onboard new riders as well as to increase revenue for the service. Last month, you heard from the equipment team about the finalizing of the ACE midlife overhaul program, which provides benefits to the passengers today, right? Screens for communication, new seats, new flooring, really a welcome addition for the passengers. But we're not stopping there. We're looking at new propulsion technologies for the future, as well as what those propulsion technologies require from a retrofit perspective for the facility. And then a key highlight is the oversight that the Rail Commission has of the state-owned intercity fleet from a maintenance perspective, and you'll hear about that in the operating budget discussion. We're also really focused on that future service. The Valley Rail projects, more of them will be moving into construction. You'll hear about that from Christine, and the PGP team is continuing to find new funding sources for later phases of the program to make the program whole. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Christine, who will walk you through what is the capital budget for next fiscal year.
Thank you and good morning. So fiscal year 25-26 is going to be a rebaselining year for capital programs. We're taking a new conservative approach on forecasting our expenditures for the year. We've, over the last few months here, are probably closer to a year, the major projects. We've understanding now that these are big, complex, multi-phased projects that include our stations, new track, and our sidings. And so as those projects move from 30% design into 90% design, we're beginning to understand how that complexity especially affects our construction phasing, our sequencing, and then layering on the requirements from our Class 1 railroad hosts, some of those that we talked about last month at the joint meeting, some UP requirements, and then also the complexity or the layer of complexity with the major utilities, some of these being AT&T, PG&E, Comcast, Lumen, and of course, local and city utilities also that are within our project footprints. So the aim this year for the work plan, the capital program work plan, is to have the fiscal year expenditures more closely reflect what you see here in the work plan. Now, of course, if we can begin construction sooner, I will be back. We plan to be back to return to the commission to ask for more budget expenditures. So with that, let's go ahead and dig into some of the numbers. Okay, our ACE major program, which includes our ACE platform extensions, comprises 9 projects and it's approximately $16 million. Our Rail Commission major capital, which also includes our South Stockton South Yard crossover and the Cabral Annex, 6 projects, bit over 27 million projects. And our Valley Rail program, this includes our most complex projects, which are the stations, the track, the sidings. There will be 20 of those projects continuing through the design phase. 2 of them we plan to have moving into construction for a total of 23 projects, $94 million in this work plan. And the 2 that we anticipate moving into construction, Stockton Diamond and Midtown Station. For the minor capital program, the Rail Commission minor has 4 projects, about $4.8 million, and the ACE minor capital has the couple of projects here, 6 of them for $1.9 million. And then our San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority program, our minor includes 5 projects for $3.8 million, and our major, which includes Stockton Y, which is under construction now, 11 projects for $45.6 million. And with that, I'll hand it over for the operating budget.
All right. All right, morning, commissioners. So I think this table here essentially represents a great story of the commission. You know, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it was an easy slide. It was just SJRRC up top, right? But it just shows how the responsibilities of the commission has grown over time, right? And so the commission is the managing service or managing agency for the ACE operating service. It also became the operating for the San Joaquins. And then from there, it's led to other things, Track C, as well as we call it other managing activities, but that's similar to we have a contract with the state to do a truck overhaul program. In addition to that, work on state-owned equipment in the northern fleet. So I'm going to go over each of these budgets, the commission and ACE together, and then also the other three below. And so to kind of walk this through on what it looks like, these tables are in the work program at the end, but this is the commission and ACE budget. We usually combine these together. So the first column is the prior year combined, which is fiscal year 24-25. The next column is the commission alone, just kind of all their activities, expenses for the commission. The next would be for operating ACE, and then we combine those. And so with that, we kind of highlighted some categories that touch upon that kind of have higher variances in the prior year. So one of those is salaries and benefits, right? Kind of what I talked about before is just the support that grows of the agency's responsibilities, right? Or the commission's responsibilities just continue to grow, and with that, so do ours, right? We got to hire the staff to be able to fill a lot of those positions that are growing capital program, things like that. So the budget supports that. We have our computer system. So in addition to hiring people, you got to buy computers and things for them as well. So the budget's built for that. And as well as upgrading the current firewall, we're always looking to get better security. Professional service legislative, I should just say what Adele said, right? Just put that, but Adele brought that contract. And so building for that, bolster our agency presence in the state. And then the special district fees and assessment for property that we're owning that, as the Valley Rail expands, we're purchasing properties that are in outer counties. And so those fees are built into that. And so we have I guess it stated before, we also have the budget broken into two sections. One's the project management, which I showed you earlier, and this one's kind of the contracted services. There's more operations. So you can see that's why the ACE is more heavier on that end. And so I, again, highlighted some areas that prices increased. We also have our host railroad fees here as well that we paid to Union Pacific to operating on the tracks as service. And so again, here's some items that I brought out and to talk about. The ACE O&M, we did an RFP back in, I think it was 23-24, and we awarded that contract in 24-25. So this is going to be the first year starting July 1st with that new contract for the ACE service. Parking lot and train layover fees. Back in 2023, we store, at the end of the line, we store our rail cars there, right? They lay over. And so Peninsula Corridor back in 2023 wanted to bring that rate up to a market rate. And so we've been working with them instead of just hitting us hard in 2023 to step up our way towards there. And so this is another year progressing to what they identified as a market rate for those train car storage fees. The security and service line increased greatly. This one looked really big, but it wasn't as bad. Every year we're always looking at the budget and we're like, why did we put that there? And so the main facility, their security line was in their own, like a maintenance facilities line. And Cameron would always ask me, like, where is my security? Do I have security? And I'm like, oh, no, you do. It's just hidden. So we brought it, not hidden, but it was just in there. So we took it out, put it in the security line so we can have better oversight of that. And that's truer cost. And then the ticketing services were something we're very excited about. Again, we're looking to launch the new ACE ticketing system. We're looking to hopefully launch the mobile app within this coming month. Next year, big changes as in we're still going to offer paper tickets, but it'll be in a limited use medium where today people get paper tickets and allotments. There'll be a more on-demand system. And with that, both systems will be able to talk to each other, right? We have to build a back end and an infrastructure for that. So obviously the cost increase to that. But that platform is also built to support the expansion of ACE as well, that we can take a point of sale and put it somewhere or the mobile service is provided there. So that's why the cost increase in the ticketing service line. And obviously the shuttle service, which we've talked about prior years, just the loss of grant funding for that program. The commission supports that along with other agencies funding to support those costs. But this was another year where that contract had gone out to RFP in 24-25, and this is going to be a start of a new contract for 25-26. And so how do we pay for it all? Here you go. So this is all the operating revenue for the commission and ACE. As you can tell, the commission is really funded with Measure K, helps a little with the and then other services that we provide to other agencies. We're able to recoup funding for staff support there. And then the ACE, this is supports going through 3 counties. We're able to get funding from all those different counties, and we have just an array of funding for that. And so to build on what Commissioner Marchand said, right, with an increase of ridership, we also get an increase of revenue. And so we're anticipating at least a 23% increase the next fiscal year. This is also the final year of the SB 125 for the first allocation that was sent to the MPOs. And so that is state supported funds, which help make up the fair revenue, loss in fair revenue, because obviously ridership is, as much as it's going up, it's not back to where we were pre-pandemic. Something that just popped out was just the LC Top means based fair program. Showed zero funding, but that's not a bad thing. This was awarded back in 2021 pre-pandemic. Everything was going great. We thought that program, got a bunch of money that would help support creating a new program, which is the community assistance program. And LC Top has just been great in extending that program. It was only supposed to be 3 years. They kept extending it all the way to this year, fiscal year 24-25. And so couldn't go past anymore, but we're working with them to be able to utilize those funds for operations as well. All right, so this one is called the other managing activities. And so this has its own budget, right? And staff time that they spend time on these projects, we're able to get funded through the state. And so again, it has the maintenance facility, because obviously we want to charge for our time, right? Utilizing our utilities and things like that. So we're able to recoup our costs there. We have the state-owned equipment that we work on for the Northern Fleet for Capital Corridor, as well as the San Joaquins. And then we have our truck overhaul program there, and that is supported with the state funds. And here's the operating budget for Track C, right, which is the Rail Academy of Central California. And this is something we've worked for with the, to build a rail workforce development program. The exciting thing with this is we've got other fundings where the last couple of years, the commission has been funding the program to get it going. And now we're seeing other funds from the state and federal funds coming in to help support the program, which is exciting. And then the final one, like I talked about, the Rail Commission is the managing agency for the San Joaquins. The San Joaquins, the JPA, they kind of have their own process here where they have a business plan, and with that, it's brought to the state for review. The Rail Commission administers, and then so the Rail Commissioner administers this, so we have to approve it within your budget authority. And we brought this to the JPA board back May 16th, 2025, and we'll have the attached from July 17th board meeting with the final work program. And so kind of this is the JPA's change from the prior years, an 8% increase. We, again, staff time, we're able to recoup through this functionality. And so this is the fees here. And then next is the lower half, which is marketing expenses. So we get marketing to market the San Joaquins, as well as the contracted services below, which is the fees that we pay directly to Amtrak to operate the service. And then we have other contracted fees, which are just the insurance, facility leases and things like that that pay through other folks. And then that is supported with the intercity rail funds. With that, I'll hand.
Yeah, this is Stacy. Just for a minute, I wanted to put it in a little bit of context, as people have said earlier, and Dell and David and Nick. The responsibilities have been growing. I think we're kind of the best kept secret in terms of what we do for the county. But I did a quick look this morning, put the total budget before you. If you roll it all up, it's $414 million for 1 year. So I look at San Joaquin County. Okay, we're not as big as San Joaquin County has hospitals and jails and mental health services and all that kind of stuff. They're at $3 billion proposed for this year, population of 800,000. I might have pulled Tracy's prior year budget, so forgive me if City of Stockton next at about $1 billion, right, for the year. City of Tracy 390, 400 roughly. Okay. City of Lodi 291. So just putting us in the context of that, we come in third, right below San Joaquin County and City of Stockton at the moment with this expenditure. And so we are as big as some of the, not the largest city in the county, but certainly the second largest city in the county. And then our what we're handling in terms of responsibility larger than all the rest of the cities within San Joaquin County. So I just want to say to the staff, great job doing this with the staff we have, given when you look at the size of the other jurisdictions who are delivering that same kind of program responsibility. So I wanted to call that out just to thank you all. And then thank you all for helping be the best kept secret, I think, that we have. And so.
The secret's out.
I guess I just, yeah, don't tell. But we'd be happy to answer questions on that. We are coming back to you with the final, so our last month's narrative was really give a feel, where are we going, what are we doing? Today was to put some meat on the bones about the numbers. And then we don't anticipate large changes, but we are negotiating some of the last capital, what do we think we'll have spent by a couple weeks from now? Because you know, the invoices and all that come in arrears, so the finance team, capital team are chewing through that, but. This in a nutshell is what we expect to do and how we expect to do it. And then next month on the 17th, we will just be finalizing that for purposes. Getting the work done for the next year. So happy to take any questions on that, and all the team is available.
Well, not so much a question, but a comment. Mayor Marchand and I were just talking about budgets, our city budgets, other cities' budgets, and how there's some struggle going on, you know, a little bit everywhere, some places more than others. And to see our budget for the Rail Commission, I mean, it's really impressive. And knowing how many staff you have versus how many staff that I know the city of Stockton has. We have like a dozen people in council chambers, and that's not all of the people that are there working on that budget. But this isn't an easy lift. Nonetheless, like I said, just very impressed with the work that staff did on this, and the direction that we continue to go down the track on, and to provide the best service. So.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Another comment as well from me. I did love the reference to the Valley Rail program continues full steam ahead. Good reference there. And recognizing that just to underscore the impact of the pandemic, it wasn't but a few years ago that we were getting over 50% of our operating costs through the fare box. Now we're down around 30%, but 50% is remarkable. When you figure that some of the bus companies around 92% of their operations is subsidized. They only get between 5 and 8% through the fare box. The fact that we're 50%, that's remarkable. I mean, we're getting our way back up. So well done, everybody. And with KP coming on board, I have a freedom more people returning to the rails.
Any public comment?
Seeing that online.
Online, this was information only, so vote comes next month, right?
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you all. Nice job. Item 11 is HPD Ambassador Program presentation.
Well, I am not Carmen Setness. So I'll just say that. Similar to Del, Carmen came down with a bug and wasn't able to be here. And it's unfortunate because I wouldn't want her to tell the story of the Student Ambassador Program because she's super passionate about it, done a great job shepherding this. But I'm going to do my best. But we'll get her back up here to take credit for the things that she's done. I think one of the things that we've been really committed to as a staff, as you heard, overseeing 2 different rail services, is really being conscious about how we can take something that we've learned on one side and bring it to the other side of the service. I think one of the ways in which we've seen ACE really benefit the San Joaquins is ACE has had a really robust passenger appreciation program for many years. And we've started to then sort of bring that over to the San Joaquin side and make sure that the San Joaquin's passengers feel like, hey, we care about you and we really appreciate you. One of the areas where it's happening the other way around is in this program. So for many years, the San Joaquin's has had a student ambassador program. And actually students for the San Joaquin's makes up about 20% of passengers that ride on the San Joaquin service. Now, passengers on ACE is a smaller part of the total population on board, but still a really important part and a part that we feel actually can grow in the future. And so this is something that really we've begun to roll out on the ACE side. We're currently sitting at having 4 ambassadors who are from 2 different colleges and universities along the ACE corridor, and we are continuing to work with our transportation offices and our partners to onboard additional students. The student ambassadors, they're not just pretty pictures, but they have some responsibilities that they're meant to do. So they promote the service through their social media channels, and the ambassador works with our team to kind of tee up that content, make sure it's well representative of the service before they post it, but it really sort of gives their flavor to their own sort of friends and fellow students on hey, you should take ACE because that's the cool way to get to in front of campus. They have peer conversations on campus as they sort of promote the service with their fellow students. And then as we go out and do tabling at the universities, they join us at the table. And who better to tell the story than a person who's writing the service, who goes to the school and really able to tell our story better than even we can. And the ambassadors, they receive a lot of materials then to help them do these things. And we sort of like wrote them in by sending them a little box that has little goodies in it and things that they can use on campus to sort of wear the brand, as it were. And the goal of this program really is to expand awareness that, you know, colleges and college students are key partners of ours. We do have a college incentive program that we're looking to expand in the future, and really, you know, with this particular audience, it's much more authentic for them to tell the story than for us to try to tell it ourselves, though we also do that as well. And maybe the question would be, well, how would someone become a student ambassador? And so we have a flyer like this that's sort of bespoke to each individual college that we're engaging with. That flyer is present in the transportation offices where currently they would go in to buy their ACE tickets. And they're also shared at campus tabling events. You can find it on our social media channels, on our website. And there's like a really simple QR code that you just scan, and then it walks you through like a kind of like an application process to become a student ambassador. You give us a little bit of information, we reach out to you. And so this is how someone would become one. And this is a little bit of the flow. Like, you fill out the application is reviewed. There's a welcome letter and a swag box that get sent out. The students submit a travel request because a part of the program is they're sort of investing in the service and the brand. We're investing in them, and they get a few tickets to ride the service where they are videoing themselves on the service and then using that for promotion. The 2 universities that we're engaging with right now that have students that are ambassadors are San Jose State as well as West Valley College. And we're continuing to work with our other partners like Santa Clara University and Las Positas to find the students who want to be part of the program. These are our pictures of our ambassadors today. As I mentioned before, there are 4 of them who have gone through the application process and are already starting to do some of their activities related to being an ambassador. And we have actually a little video here of one of their rides on ACE. Do I have to do something? Sorry. Yeah, so just a fun little video of her, and that's the only one that she'll be creating over the course of the semester, and then joining us for tabling events and things like that. I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Public comments? Anything online?
Hey, Madeline.
You did a good job, Dave.
Carmen would have been better, trust me.
I thank you. Next item is board member comments. Anybody have any comments?
Just really quickly, I just wanted to thank staff. So we all regionally went on the One Voice trip. Staff came along and was really able to talk about some of our programs, especially the Track C program. We got to see everyone all go together. I want to give kudos to my fellow Mayor Fugazi, and her and I were stuck for the vast majority of it. But it was really fantastic seeing everyone together, and I was hoping that, come back and bring those dollars back, because that's what it's all about. So I wish everyone a happy Pride Month and enjoy your summer.
Yes, and we're super excited about having a student as well on the trip that we could reference. It's not just about us talking about track C, but we have somebody in the flesh right here who can really give credence to the program and what we're trying to do out here. And it was interesting because I met with the Department of Shipbuilding and I gave them track C because I was trying to ensure them that we can grow our own. That if we bring shipbuilding here, we will create a shipbuilding workforce like we're creating a rail workforce, and it goes to a lot of what is happening here. So thank you.
Anybody else? All right, ex officio. Now, King Council of Governments, Ms. Nguyen, are you still here?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Zuber. I am still here. Ditto on comments made earlier from the commissioners about the San Joaquin Council of Governments One Voice trip. We had our largest delegation of over 80 delegates in the trip. And of course, of the dozen projects that San Joaquin COG One Voice endorsed and advocated for in Washington, D.C., two of them are near and dear to this commission, one being the North Lathrop Transfer Station and the other being the Martin Luther King Rail and Roadway Reconstruction Project. As I have mentioned before to this commission, that the work of the One Voice delegation does not stop in DC when we come back to California. The advocacy for funding for those projects continue throughout the year until we're able to get the funding that's needed to deliver the program of projects. Again, I wanted to thank the commissioners who did double duty as rail commissioner representatives, as well as COG board members. So thank you to Commissioner Fugazi, Ariola, Craig, and Commissioner Ding, and also to the Rail Commission staff that were part of the delegation. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Mr. Baxter, RTD.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, commissioners, staff, and the public. One commentary and one update. I would like to say that in addition to the Stockton Diamond Grade Separation Project, that I believe all Rail Commission projects are big and beautiful, and that's how I feel. One quick update. We are working for free rides throughout San Joaquin County this summer for rides to the cooling centers. And this would occur when temperatures reach about 100 degrees or more each day. The services include the Stockton local fixed route system, our bus rapid transit system, which is the same as the express service, the hoppers that connect the cities in San Joaquin, and of course the Van Gogh on-demand service. Currently, we're working with the County Office of Emergency Services to finalize the details. That's all I have, and I'd like to wish all of you a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dumas, Caltrans.
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick notice, Caltrans has got tons of construction projects going on all over. Word of advice, if you're planning on traveling on Highway 12 this weekend, don't. We've got the Rio Vista Bridge shut down. So it'll be closed from Friday night all the way to Monday morning at 5. But I do urge everyone to download the Caltrans app so you can track where we have construction going on and where you might incur delays. We had an issue this week earlier with Highway 4. The bridge had a major component fail, but they've got that up and running. But again, I urge everyone to download that Quick Maps. It's a great tool. And happy Father's Day to all those. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from StanCog?
We do. Okay, we do see Rosa, no comment from StanCog.
All right. Then we will move on to Executive Director's report.
Thank you. Just 2 items. One, just as Christine mentioned earlier about us rebaselining to really look at what can be delivered within the monies that we have and just the schedule complexities driving some longer phasing. Excuse me, the Valley Lake team they've undergone a rebaseline as well. And they have had a couple sessions with their board and are having some sessions around San Joaquin County. Because the project is gonna have to be phased, and so Kevin and his team came out and met with us on what that would look like. Likely, first phase to somewhere around Vasco Road, potentially Vasco Road at the station location where the ACE train serves today. So we took a look at that and, we're creating some comments for Kevin and his team and to keep the dialogue going about what that might look like as a transfer station for Valley Link, ACE, and getting to BART. Because that's a bit of a pivot for the project that they had, so some new analysis has to be done, how could we all fit there? What would Valley Link need there at that location? For us, right now, it's a station stop, we have a parking lot, the city of Livermore on two sides of that station, so there'll be someone, Christine and her team, will meet with Kevin and his team and kind of look at what that means. One of the issues that's floating around out there is ACE could provide a connection at the Vasco Road location in this interim period between phase one and a phase two that would ultimately make its way to the Mountain House Tracy area. And just the one thing I want to make sure everybody knows, ACE runs 4 trains a day, yay. And but on weekdays. And so the expectation of the community is that what they've been looking forward to is a frequency that's like every 15 minutes. You don't have to think about it, you don't have to worry about it, you can show up and it works for you. So I just want to make sure everybody knows, we don't run those frequencies until there'll be a reconciliation, so to speak, with, well, what is that service that everybody gets? Because what we have today is probably not what they've been getting ready for. So I think that's the gap that has to be bridged over time, that everybody understands what we have. We have our own expansion plan, but it's limited because we are the long haul system that takes people sort of deeper and deeper from the Valley and Sacramento area, Elk Grove, into the South Bay. And Valley Link, we've agreed over the last 10 years, that is the high frequency connector to the BART system that takes people to Oakland and San Francisco Bay Area. So our expansion efforts are very minimal, but we have money lined up. We have a 5th train as it comes from Ceres into San Jose. We have a 6th train that's kind of a question mark at the moment, like, because getting all the way to San Jose with that through the wetland area is probably gonna create some more siting improvements that we would have to build. So we look forward to those discussions. I think there'll be a discussion with the COG. We've asked Kevin to come do a presentation here, so we can maybe talk about that together after I point to Christine, but I think she's going, after Christine and her team take a look at that and Momo's team, just in terms of, does that have any financial implications for us that we may not have been ready for, because we're building over sort of north-south in the valley. So we've got to sort of bridge those two thoughts together. Now that Valley Link's first phase might look differently, we come into the picture to sort of help. What does that look like for us together as a region? So I will organize through Chair Craig to have a presentation here. I think there is a presentation for Mountain House coming up in June. I think several of you are on the Valley Link board. I think you have another presentation in mid-June. So that'll shake out some of the details so we can keep having some more internal meetings and then a presentation here. Last night we had UP had an incident in the Livermore area with a trespasser and one of their freight trains. And so anything like that in these single track territories blocks everything, all trains. And so I want to give a good shout out first to LAFTA, who helped save the day for us, which they do. Knock on wood, we don't have many, but when we do, they're a fantastic partner at the last minute to help us out with best bridges. So big shout out, and I will call Christine and make sure she knows the board is very thankful. And then on our own team, Nathan Alastra, who's now over there. And then Terry Hayes, who's probably online. She's our Nathan is our ops manager, Terry is our connecting service manager. So they were doing double duty all night, because you have to figure out where do we hold, Nathan figures out where do we hold some trains and position them. And then Terry figures out, well, after, how can you help bus our passengers to the right location, so it's as little disruption to them as possible, a lot of moving parts. So 3 very, very big thank yous to Laptop, Nathan and Terry. Takes teamwork to get people through those circumstances, and they did it very well, last week. And that concludes my report, thank you.
All right, any questions? All right. Closed session?
Session. Mic on.
Yeah, you don't have to do it.
Thank you. All right, you need to check logistics here. We had 2 items on for closed session. We are not going to be discussing item 15. And so we will move to item 16. One item of anticipated or threatened litigation. It is one case, a discussion with legal counsel. This case involving Stronghold Engineering, alleging monetary claims regarding the expansion of the regional rail maintenance facility. And that is for regular voting members. And with that, if there are no comments before we adjourn, we will go into closed session.
Are there any public comments? Hearing none. Thank you all. You were right there. Already there.
You're returning your back. Choose. It was short. It's also short.
Takes longer to get us on and off the line than it does to come back.
Modern technology, you know.
They would just go down and I think like, oh, you're not all right. Yeah. you know.
All right, so we're back in open session.
Thank you. We had one item that was discussed in closed session, that was item 16, which was a threatened or anticipated litigation regarding Stronghold and the expansion of the regional rail maintenance facility. That item was discussed with the commission, direction was given, and at this time, there is no other reportable action.
All right, sounds good. And with that, we will adjourn this meeting. We have a special meeting on the 17th of July and then a regular meeting on August the 1st. And I hear happy Father's Day and explosive 4th of July one day.
Oh, right.
So,